Welcome to part 2 of the Citing Cases tutorial. Citing cases with a neutral citation. In part 1 of this tutorial, you learned about neutral citation, the purpose and identifying characteristics. You know that neutral citation was adopted by the Canadian Judicial Council in 1999 and implemented in Canadian courts at different times since then. This means that some court decisions that you find in electronic legal databases like CanLE will have neutral citations. In this video, we will demonstrate how to cite a case that has a neutral citation using the McGill Law Journal's Canadian Guide to Uniform Legal Citation, 8th edition, also known as the McGill Guide. You can find copies of the McGill Guide in our library. Section 3.1 of the McGill Guide recommends a parallel citation for cases. This means that a citation must include at least two sources to aid the reader in locating a case. For cases with a neutral citation found in electronic databases like CanLE, the parallel citation follows a general format. First, the style of cause is the name of the case in italics followed by a comma. Next, the neutral citation followed by a comma. Third, a parallel citation to the electronic database where the case is found followed by a period. Let's examine what this looks like in practice. Here is an example of a case found in the CanLE database, R versus Smith. Remember from part 1 of this tutorial, there are some ways to determine whether a case has a neutral citation. Appendix B3 of the McGill Guide has a list of all Canadian tribunals and the dates of implementation for neutral citation. The Canadian Citation Committee has a website that lists the implementation dates for the neutral citation standard in Canadian tribunals. Finally, there are some hints in the citation itself that tell us it is a neutral citation. There are no brackets separating the year and there are no periods in the tribunal identifier abbreviation. We recognize the neutral citation at the top of the case, which tells us the year the case was decided, 2009. The court abbreviation SCC stands for Supreme Court of Canada. And the decision number 5. This was the 5th case decided by the Supreme Court of Canada in 2009. For case decisions found in online databases, the second source in our parallel citation is the online database identifier. To include this case in your references, begin under a centered heading, References. Start with the style of cause in italics. In this example, capital R space V space Smith followed by a comma. Leave a space and enter the neutral citation information, including year, court, or tribunal identifier. And decision number. In this example, the decision is from 2009. The court identifier is capital S, capital C, which stands for Supreme Court of Canada. Court or tribunal identifiers are found in Appendix B2 of the McGill Guide. Follow with a space and indicate the decision number. In this example, the decision number is 5. Now enter the citation for the electronic database, the second source in our parallel citation. Since we found this case in CanLE, we simply put the database abbreviation. CanLE in parentheses followed by a period. Section 3.8 of the McGill Guide recommends citing cases found in CanLE rather than commercial databases whenever possible, since it is freely available and accessible to all readers. The McGill Guide does not require a retrieved from URL for uniform legal citation. However, your professor may require a link. It's best to ask and confirm whether your professor requires a URL link for legal citations. This concludes part 2 of the Citing Cases tutorial. The next video will demonstrate how to cite a case without a neutral citation. The following source was consulted. Please visit Guelph-Humber Library Services for help with legal citation. We do not copy, edit, or proofread your references, but we will direct you to the appropriate resources.